So today we'll be talking about abnormal behavior. So understanding abnormal behavior is essential in the field of psychology. So psychologists have developed various models, each offering unique perspective on these causes, nature, and the treatment of these psychological disorders. So there are various models to understand this abnormality. So we'll look into the first one, that is biological model. So biological model talks about adopting medical perspective to understand these abnormal behaviors, and these abnormal behaviors considered as illness, and this is caused by the malfunction of the parts of the organism, that is mainly brain chemistry and brain anatomy. So clinicians have discovered connections between psychological disorders as well as certain part of psychological disorders and with the certain part of the specific brain. For example, we see Huntington disease is caused because of the loss of cells in the basal ganglia. So brain chemistry is seen that certain psychological disorders are related to problems in the transmissions of the neuron. So dozens of neurotransmitters like serotonin, GABA and dopamine, because of these problems in these transmitters can lead to abnormal activity of the brain chemistry. So certain disorders like depression, it could be because of serotonin and norepinephrine of abnormality in this neurotransmitter. Certain mental disorders are also related to abnormal chemical activity in the endocrine system. Like for example, cortisol release related to the anxiety disorder as well as mood disorders. There are various sources which is considered as biological abnormalities like genetics, which is inherited from the abnormalities from ancestors like schizophrenia, Alzheimer's disease or mood disorders. Toxicity, that is caused by chemical poisoning from drugs or environmental toxin. There is infection disease that is causes by chemical or structural damage to the brain. It is seen in schizophrenia during the prenatal, if there is any prenatal exposure during any viral exposure, that can also lead to the schizophrenia disorder. Stress also causes a normal hormonal effect in the long term. That example would be a depression. The next model that we talk about is psychodynamic model. In psychodynamic model, Freud talks about the person's behavior is whether it is normal or abnormal. It is determined by underlying psychological force, which they are not aware about it. And these forces are considered as dynamic and they interact with each other. And that interaction gives rise to their behavior, feelings and emotion. And when there is conflict between these forces, that can lead to abnormal symptoms. So these forces that he talks about is id, ego and superego. So it is considered as instinctual needs, rational thinking is ego, and superego is moral standards. When we consider a healthy personality is when there is balance between these forces. If there is excessive conflicts between these three forces, it could lead to a dysfunction. It shows the signs of dysfunction. Freud also talks about from a developmental perspective, if there is any fixation or if they are not satisfied that particular stage during those period, then that would lead to dysfunction or abnormality. And parents, he also talks about parents being a key environmental figure in these early lives of the particular individual. If they are not given the needs or if they are not provided at that particular time, and that could lead to the abnormality. Then we talk about behavioral model. In behavioral model, the behaviorist talks about organism or the individual as a whole, and they say that the behaviors can be internal or external, and it can also explain their causes. It could be either through learnings like modeling, or it could be also through conditioning like operant conditioning or classical conditioning. Then we talk about the cognitive model. Here the cognitive theorists, they talk about how we process our thoughts, behavior, and emotion can lead to abnormality. So, an abnormal functioning can result in cognitive problem if we have this assumption or we adopt attitudes that are inaccurate, or if we have illogical thinking process, more of self-defeating or defeating conclusions we come to across in this. Cognitive theorists, they talk about this could lead to abnormal functioning. Then we have humanistic and existential model, which is not much research have been done, but give a brief understanding about the individual abnormality in this way. So they say that it focuses on individual potential and self-actualization. So if we are not able to reach our potential, or if we have a self-defeating or self-defeating ideas about ourselves, this could lead to abnormality. Also, we have some sociocultural model. So this model talks about societal and cultural factors that would influence abnormal behavior. The factors that impact this abnormality would be social norms, family dynamics, and cultural background. One of the disorder would be eating disorder, where if we are not able to fit into societal norm, it would lead into beauty standards, it would lead into eating disorder. So each model will provides us with a valuable insight and contribute to the holistic understanding of abnormality. By integrating these perspectives, psychologists can develop more effective strategies tailored to the individual needs.